Sat Nam, hello everyone. Sat Nam yogis and yoginis and numerologists and anyone who tunes in to today's stream, and welcome. I'm, uh, I'm a little bit out of place today. I'm not sure where I am, and I think it's because I wanted to do a live stream in nature and I had to decide not to do it at the end. Sat Nam Pete, I just saw your hello, but I don't think it appeared on the screen. And welcome to the stream. So today we have a lovely day outside, but I'm waiting for some parcel. It has to arrive, so it can arrive any minute. I may need to pause the stream for a minute, so that I was like, come on, I want to go out. And anyway, we will go another day. There's plenty of days ahead of us. So I'm a little bit out of place. I was planning to go outside and walk and just meditate with you. But today, instead, we're going to stay here and we're going to talk a little bit and we're going to do a meditation as well. And I was like, what are we going to talk about today? Well, if anybody has anything to ask, you can just say it in the chat and I will address it. So if anybody has a question, you can just write it down. And but before I was connecting, as I was waiting for the stream to start, I was reading. I have on my screen a few things, and one of the things that appears are the names of the subscriptions, the people who have subscribed lately to the channel. And by the way, I thank you very much for everybody who watches. Thank you for everybody who subscribes. Thank you for every member who contributes to the channel also economically, and just for sharing whatever you are. If this is interesting you in some way, if it's nurturing you, if you're learning something, and if you share it with others. So thank you very much. And I know many people watch who are not subscribed to the channel, so especially if you subscribe, thank you. And I was just noticing the names, and it's quite amazing. Such a variety of names of those who subscribe. So I'm just gonna read a few of them. There is Leo, and I will butcher some names, so sorry about that. But Leo Israel, this space, Namrata Vaswani, every dot, Siddhartha Ramdas, Inner Voice Lab, Star Child, and Leyan Oliveira. These are the ones that appear like the most recent ones, but it's like so many different names, right? Such a variety, and from so far away I can feel like some of them are from any corner in the planet. And that's one of those blessings that online life has brought to us. There's been a number of curses as well, but this is one of the blessings that we can be together and we can connect. And these are one of the consequences of this globalized world that we live in, which is interesting. We are just starting the number 1 in the Karam Kriya course. We just started last Tuesday. I haven't even edited that video yet, but I will upload it. It's just in the live stream section of the channel. And number 1, yeah, so this is one world, right? One community, one group, this is like we all belong together in a way. A community means that, a common unity, right? So it's like a community of souls getting together and doing something together. And internet just gives us this capacity to meet in a place where otherwise we would not meet. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful to have this space. And so anyway, if anybody wants to write something, you can. If you want to ask anything, just write in the chat, and I will talk about that. I was thinking about doing a meditation today to tranquilize the mind. We had a conversation on the channel here last week, and with Haridar Shankar from Dubai. She lives in Dubai, originally Palestinian. And so one of the things that we talked in the conversation is how in the Muslim culture it is very accepted for just take a break to go have a prayer, right? You may be doing anything else, and then there's 5 prayers a day, and you can just stop whatever you're doing and just go and pray for a few minutes. And I find that beautiful. I find that very inspiring. And a few other cultures have it as well. I can think how Sikhism also has a number of prayers throughout the day distributed. And if you are a very proper religious person, this is kind of mandatory for you. But I bet it is very accepted if you just take some time off to go and meditate, to go and pray. And I was just, as a joke, but truthfully, saying that where we live, where I live in the West, I live in Portugal, but I lived in Spain and other countries. If you are with a group of people, it would be really inappropriate to, you are having a dinner, it would be quite inappropriate to just say, I'm going to take 5 minutes to go and meditate and then come back. And this is a realization I had once when I saw we were having a lunch, a group of friends, and I noticed one of them who was getting up and he was leaving. It was all in a terrace in a restaurant, and he was going to the outside garden. We could just see him from the terrace. There was the garden, and he went to a bench and he sat there for a while. And I was like, "What's he doing?" And then he took out a cigarette, and you're like, okay, he went smoking because you cannot smoke in the restaurant, so he's going smoking. That makes sense, and I understood. Smoking is very accepted in our culture. Like you can just take a few minutes to go and smoke a cigarette. But then I watched this guy, and my chair was in a way that I could just see his position. Sorry, I cannot mute the phone in case they phone me for the parcel that is arriving. So sorry about that today. So I was watching this guy, and he had the cigarette out, but he was not smoking it. He was just contemplating. He was very silent, very still, looking in the distance, looking into the flower garden, and just staying like that. Every now and then, yes, maybe he would smoke or he would do like that, but he was not really like, come on, let's have a cigarette. He just needed some time for himself. And I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if in our culture was perfectly accepted to just say, I'm going to go sit quietly in the garden for a few minutes just to meditate, and I will come back. I think that would be a lovely thing to do. But normally it's not accepted. But what I would normally do is just say that I'm going to the toilet, and I will stay for 3 or 4 minutes in the toilet. Sometimes I will do some pranayams or meditations, which again is a joke because this is the worst place to do a pranayam, a smelly place, right? Sometimes toilets are smelly, but that's accepted, right? Even if it's like a family thing, gathering, that social event that is forced, that you have to go, whatever, you find yourself in a situation, there's lots of sound and noise and confusion. Maybe there's people arguing, maybe there's some commotion or some emotion going on, some reaction, and you just want some quiet. So I would go to the toilet and I would just close the door and stay for a few minutes and then come back. So not going deeper into the concept of the toilet, but going deeper into the concept of taking a few minutes off. I think it's very helpful as a yogi to have a set of tools that you can do in 3 minutes to reset yourself. One of the main keywords for this new year, 2024, we can still say it's new year, it's about resetting yourself. So having a set of tools that can help you to do that, that's fundamental as a yogi, so that you are not affected by whatever is happening outside. And so it is convention, but one must take care of oneself regardless. Yes, that's right. We need to take care of ourselves. Yes, sometimes it's going to cause more trouble though. Sometimes to live for a few minutes to calm down whatever is happening, and then you come back and then you have even more heat on you. And so indeed, it is necessary to take care of oneself. And I would say there is a number of tools that we need to learn. Some of them will be in the middle. So without having to leave the space, what can we do there, right then, in the middle of the conversation, even while we are talking to someone and they are speaking to us, we are listening, and while we are not speaking, a kind of breath, a kind of attitude, a kind of something going within ourselves could be useful to deal with the situation. And then there is another set of tools that we should we would find useful, and it would be nice to learn. And those tools would be if we can escape for a few minutes to take care of ourselves. So today I'm going to share one of those tools, but maybe I will just brainstorm a few. But it would be nice to explore this further. Maybe we'll do some other episode today. I mean, this is spontaneous, it's not prepared. So to another day we can prepare them more in detail. Presence, and one also goes much deeper within. Yes, that's right. There is one exercise that we did last year in terms of a sort of meditation in which we bring our consciousness down and we kind of swallow ourselves, going deep into the heart. And in the heart there is the self, the real self. And if we can just, that presence, that presence comes from a few things. One is being in the present, that brings your presence, and being in the present aware, with awareness, so you're not going away. So the other one is talking to you. It's not like you are thinking something else because you are listening, because you may need to reply afterwards. But even while listening, you can go back and go down. And a few things happen. Immediately as you go back, there's some meditations from Kundalini Yoga where you go back to the back of the head, where this the bottom bone of the cranium is. And that's called the witch's eye, the eye of the witch. And when you look from there, you activate your intuition, and you can see different layers, and you can see different things. And you can see the reality of what is being said, or you can feel energy paths or channels blocked and things like that. It's quite a magical place to be. Maybe we will develop that some other time, some other day. But first you go back, and then you go down. Because if you stay up, then the ego likes to activate itself. So if you go down, then you go to that place of presence from the heart where the real self is. So that's something we can do immediately. This attitude, we can do it as we are speaking to someone, regulating our breath as well. And one really nice regulation that can serve to remain neutral and at the same time be relaxed is inhaling 4, exhaling 1. Sat, 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 nam. Sat, 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 nam. Sat, 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 nam. And I'm not chanting out loud. I'm saying it within myself, but as the other one is speaking to me, I'm doing that. Going back and going down and going within myself. And this is particularly useful when you find yourself in the middle of an argument, or when somebody's trying to have an argument with you, somebody's trying to pick a fight. And you just want to neutralize. So that's neutrality is the number 4 in Karankriya, and that's associated to the heart. And so inhaling 4 is going to establish neutrality, and exhaling deep nam, the sound nam is very linked to na, which is linked to no. So it's a way of letting go. So no, sat nam, So you neutralize and you let go. Sat, 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 nam. And that's very useful, not only to neutralize things, but to relax by letting that go. So if you find yourself that you have to have a conversation at a moment when you are exhausted, you are tired, you just want to go to sleep, or you want to go away for whatever reason, you have a tough day, and this person is trying to pick a fight, and you have to have that conversation. You cannot escape, and you are there, and you feel trapped in a way. Okay, don't feel trapped, because there's always somewhere to go. You can always go within. So all right, I'm there. I'm gonna have that conversation. They want to talk to me, and they want me to listen, and I have to be there for whatever reason. All right, I will listen, but I'm not gonna engage with whatever is being said in a way that is reactive and that is going to create a fight. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to neutralize. I'm going to let go, especially let go of any attachment I may have, emotional attachment to whatever is being said, because that is like the hook. Yeah, some people are trying to hook you. They throw with a hook, and they are trying to see if they catch you. Yeah, then they say something and you are like, don't reply, don't say anything, come on, don't take it, right? You know it. You know, if I say it, we're going to get into a fight. Don't do it. Don't say, right? So you are aware at some level that they are trying to hook you, and can you allow yourself not to bite the bait? Yeah, so to just stay there. So this Sat Nam is very useful, and then you stay very, very, very relaxed within. And people often attempt to hook. Much of it is unconscious. Yes, yeah, it comes from there. A lot of it comes from the subconscious. Yes, I agree. Some people do it masterfully as a way of manipulation, though. So some people, especially narcissists, many Captain Hooks out there. Yes, that's right. Yeah, and you can hear the hook was eaten by the crocodile, right? You can feel the crocodile tick-tock, tick-tock. And it's a matter of time. Am I going to bite or am I not going to bite? You can hear that, yeah? They're telling you, and you're like, come on, you feel your blood is coming up. Your thoughts are getting tangled with what is being said. And that's the challenge, you know? Am I going to bite or am I going to not bite? That's very interesting. But some people do it masterfully in a conscious way, especially manipulators. They are gaslighting you, and they try to make you think that this is something that you are doing when they are doing it. And so they are pulling it to you. And because you feel the way they are telling you that they feel, which is like confusing, because what? They are doing this to me and they are saying I'm doing it to them. And it's like, and you want to respond. And that's how they hook you sometimes. So you're so right about another being masterful, such an important point. Yes, yes. So we have to be very, very aware of this, yeah? And especially those who do it masterfully, those who have practiced it for a long time and they do it as a form of manipulation, we have to be very careful with that and not to engage on that level. But again, sometimes we need to have the conversation. Maybe it's unavoidable for whatever reason. So, all right, I see the hook. Right? So I'm gonna be very, very mindful, very aware. That's a hook. I'm not gonna bite. There's a video by Sat Naams, my spiritual teacher, about hooks as well. It was really, really nice video, really nice clip. I wonder where that is. I think that's in my sister's channel, actually, in Sebacor, and it's translated by her to Spanish. I believe it is. Maybe it's even translated by me to Spanish. I'm not sure, but I think it's in her channel. Anyway, this idea, he develops it much, much better than me, but this idea, no, that somebody is trying to hook you and they are baiting you and they are putting something in front of you, and usually they put something that has worked in the past. They know how you are triggered. So, all right, they are calling to my trigger points, and I'm not gonna bite. So what am I gonna bite instead? If I'm not biting that hook, what am I gonna bite? So that's keeping your tongue busy is going to help, right? Rather than biting that hook, you can put the tip of the tongue up in the upper palate, creating that circuit, the microcosmic orbit, and then vibrate the Nam, vibrate the mantra within. Sat, 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 Sat Nam. And that mantra particularly, because Sat Nam is the mantra for neutrality. It's a mantra that is going to stimulate the heart. Stimulating the heart is because it's the fourth aspect of the Mool Mantra, Ek Onkar Satanam. So Sat Nam is going to help to the neutralization. And because of that Nam linked to no and saying no and letting go. So there you go. That's a really useful tool. Tip of the tongue in the upper palate. If the hands are below the table, you can do Yam Mudra if you wish, or you can do Buddha Mudra, and they are talking, you hold your position with neutrality and doing that breath, deep breath, letting go into the heart. So that's one possibility, something that immediately that we can do. Now, another thing is if we actually can take a few minutes and maybe, again, we are in a social setting, it's a dinner, whatever, there's lots of people, there's noise, it's not necessarily that they are, there doesn't have to be something disturbing. It may simply be that we need a few minutes to reset. Yeah. So this year, the year of 2025, with the 5 and the 2 with making the 7 and the other 2 making the 9, that reset is important. And so it's important to reset ourselves every now and then, to make sure that we do something to click, 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 reset. I just did a reset before I came in. Naps are wonderful for this. I'm Spanish and I am a big advocate for Spanish naps. We are masters at this. I think my father was a true master of naps. I'm pretty good, I would say. I can take a very efficient nap of 10 or 11 minutes, but if I need to in a rush, I can do a 5-minute one. And there used to be a time when I could go deep into the nap in less than a minute. So in less than a minute, I could be full asleep. But now I don't need to go to sleep anymore. Sometimes I just close my eyes and go deep within and just deep rest without sleeping, but then come back. I think scientifically there's even studies on this, like deep rest, non-sleep, NSDR, not sleep, deep rest, something like that. There's some studies on this and proving how efficient it is. Well, I don't need our scientific study to see what I feel, right? When we do a little nap in the middle of the day, right after lunch, that's wonderful. And I was just taking the opportunity that there was some sun and I laid back on the ground with the sun on me and just a few minutes of reset. And that's a wonderful thing. So that's a little technique you can do when you're at home. Now, when you are outside, it's not so easy to lay in the sun if you don't have sun around. But this is what I mean about having a set of tools. Now, this set of tools could be a wide range of things. So it depends on what you need to do. Because sometimes the reset that you need to do in the middle of the day, it may be for different reasons. For example, maybe you are feeling with lack of energy. So do you know any kind of breath or any kind of exercise that you can do that is going to quickly energize you? That's one thing. So gather energy. Another is when you feel that your energy is out of balance. Something is happening. Maybe the energy is moving in a way that it shouldn't be. And it can be physical energy, it can be mental energy or emotional energy. And then do you know anything to balance that energy? So let me just say, for example, for the first one, for energizing yourself, if you are inhaling more than exhaling, you're doing a pattern like, yeah, this is not like the other one. The other one when we were doing Sat Nam, that was one inhale and one exhale. But if you do the segmented breath with 4 inhales, 1 exhale, you're stimulating prana. So you're gathering energy. So that's one possibility. An energy balance, because I mentioned it, the Anuloma Viloma or alternate nostril breathing is a wonderful one to balance the energy in the body, the energy through the channels, and the 2 hemispheres of the brain. So that's also good. Maybe you need to activate, right? Maybe you are very low energy and you need to, not that you need more energy, but you need to activate your energy. You need to put yourself into an active mode, let's say more Rajasic energy, more fiery. Then you would like to stimulate the right nostril. And that's the heat in the body. The left nostril is the cold. So you could just close the left nostril and do breath of fire through the right nostril for 3 minutes. If it's too hot, if you are too hot with too much fire, maybe in the body, maybe in the mind, and you want to calm down and rest a little bit, so just lay back a little bit, then you may need to stimulate yin energy, the cold energy, the left nostril. So you would close the right one and do 3 minutes of breath of fire through the left. So you see, this is just a few, right? There's many different techniques that you can do for 3 minutes. And if you are feeling emotional, if some emotions are going up, you can drink a glass of water and put the hands under the armpits and raise the arms and let the breath become very, very, very soft. Yeah, that's another technique. And in 3 minutes, they are very efficient. These techniques can be really as effective as simply 3 minutes of practice. So that's quite remarkable. So have a little toolbox of these ones and practice them relatively regularly so that when you need them, you know how to do it from memory, and you've already practiced it, so you know how it feels. That's also going to help. Having some mantra as well. Maybe if you know different mantras for different issues, then you may need to take a break, chant the mantra a few times, and stimulate that. For example, there is mantras for releasing obstacles. So from the let me see. I think from the Kundalini tradition, from Sikhism, I think it's Chatur Chakrabarti. Someday maybe we can talk about different mantras for different issues. But Chatur Chakrabarti, I think is one of those that is breaking obstacles. That Chatur Chakrabarti is from the Jap Sahib, which is a prayer that stimulates the warrior within us. So it can be both for the courage of the warrior and to remove obstacles along the path. So Chatur Chakrabarti, Chatur Chakarbhukta Suyamba Suvan Sarabda Sarajukta Dukalam Pranasede Alan Sarupa Sadangisanga Abangam Bibhuta. So you repeat that quite a few times, and if you cannot do it aloud, even better. And that's going to create that vibration. I used to practice a lot a different one from the Mantra Yoga tradition, not from Kundalini Yoga, and that's the Ganapati mantra, which is, Ganapati is Ganesha, is the elephant. An elephant is going to break through any obstacle that sits in front of you. And so whenever there would be an obstacle, I would chant that mantra. And also useful to find parking slot when you are driving around and you have to find a parking spot, and you can't, and it's all so busy. The city is, it's crazy, and then you are going somewhere and you're going to be late. I mean, you cannot do it like how do you say that, frivolously? I think like every day just to find parking, I'm going to chant that mantra. No, this is reserved for special occasions when you have something important, and maybe even something spiritual or something that you feel a call to be there. And if you're going to be late, there's going to be consequences. So, all right, there's an obstacle in front of me. So I would chant that mantra, and it worked every single time. Om Namo Narayanaya, especially when doing my chakra balancing. So what do you use that one for? Chakra balancing? Is there some other effect of that one? Because I think Narayan is an energy linked to water, right? I think it's connected to water. So tell us Infinite Stories if it's what other effects does it have? But yeah, I practiced this one from Ganesha, and I can assure it never failed me. And that's something that you cannot always say, right? Because when I see somebody saying always or never, or something like it's like an absolute statement, I am always very careful listening to that, because come on, always or never, come on, you're exaggerating. But I can truly say for this mantra that there hasn't been a single occasion in which I've chanted it and it didn't work. So I had an obstacle, I chanted the mantra, and it just evaporated from in front. So let's just chant it for a moment. Thank you. Vairu. So let's chant the Om. This is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, to break through obstacles and clear the way. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 I do. It has 7 distinct, I think you're talking about Om Namo Narayanaya. It has 7 distinct sounds for each chakra, which works for me. All right. Well, the one mantra I know that is very effective on charging every chakra, that's Om Namah Shivaya. Every sound of Om Namah Shivaya is vibrating in one of the chakras. So I didn't know that about Om Namo Narayanaya, but that's interesting. Do you know which sound vibrates in which chakra? Is it like that? 7 distinct sounds for each chakra. I wonder about which sound is for which chakra, because some sounds are repeated, no? Narayanaya, the na and the ya are repeated. I wonder how it works. If you know it, please share it with us. So Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, that's to break through obstacles and to let God clear the way. Now, in order to be more effective, it's recommended to practice this when you are not having any obstacle, right? When things are very clear in front of you and the path ahead is open and clear, you can chant that mantra to charge it with the energy of feeling that everything has dispelled. You know, every obstacle has dispelled and the path has opened. So if you feel sometimes when you are like the path is really open and cleared and you feel, wow, everything is so smoothly going, you can chant at those times and vibrate it to charge the mantra with that energy, the energy of clear path. And you can also make it part of your regular chanting so that it's empowered with energy. And so when you need the mantra, it already has the energy behind, so it can clear the way. So that's a powerful mantra to do. I'm not sure how it works, but after chanting it 54 times, my entire body is vibrating very strongly. All right. Yes, 54 is half of 108. And that's a very common practice. 108 is a very sacred number, and I've studied this number in this channel a few times already. So sometimes people will chant 54, which is half, sometimes 36, which is 1/3, or maybe 27. And there is some malas, which they have either 27 little beats, or maybe 108, and then you chant the mantra that number of times. And when you chant the whole rosary, a whole mala, with that mantra is going to permeate in the whole body. So that's very interesting. Yeah. So Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha is to clear the obstacles in the path in front of you. Now, when the obstacles come from your mind, and when the mind is thinking something, I said we would do another video about different tools, but I'm already doing it. So we're improvising, but things are coming up, so I will just share them with you. When it is our mind that it's becoming the obstacle, when we are having negative thoughts and inappropriate thoughts, and thoughts which could be limiting our prosperity, our capacity to see clearly, or when we are being very judgmental in a negative way, and we find ourselves caught up in a particular kind of thinking, then there's 2 more mantras. I will share one from the tradition of Kundalini Yoga, one from Mantra Yoga. I will be doing this, which is from Kundalini Yoga. I generally use the Mangala Charan Mantra, the mantra for protection. And that's At Guru Namo, Jugat Guru Namo, Sat Guru Namo, Sri Guru Deva Namo. And I chant it 3 times in my head. So At Guru Namo, Jugat Guru Namo, Sat Guru Namo, Sri Guru Deva Namo, At Guru Namo, Jugat Guru Namo, Sat Guru Namo, Sri Guru Deva Namo, Ad Guru Namo, Jugat Guru Namo, Sat Guru Namo, Sri Guru Deva Namo. Wahiri Ji Ka Khalsa, Wahiri Ji Ki Fateh. And that clears the mind. And if you were having an inappropriate thought, it it blows away. It goes away, and you are reset. Yeah, it's like a reset, and you are ready for whatever you have to think. Yeah, utilize the mind in a healthy way. So that would be a protective spell, if you wish, on our thoughts, on our mind. And one similar effect from mantra yoga, it's the Durga's mantra. So, Om Dum Durgaye Namaha, Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. Similar to Ganapati, yeah, but with Durga. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha, Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. What do you do? Yes, I mean there is many mantras, and there is many different meanings for every mantra, but it's good if we have a regular mantra practice where we are incorporating all these ones that we know, and we know what they are for. So when at a certain moment you need it, you can just chant it. I find myself sometimes suddenly a thought crosses the mind, and thoughts, can be very powerful because they are like words. They are unspoken words, but words are very powerful. So when we start thinking something, we know that there is also 3 levels of karma: the karma of action, the karma of words, and the karma of thoughts. So as soon as I have a thought that is inappropriate or is a negative in a way that it could be very karmic, or it's having a fantasy, an illusion of something that I'm fearful for, oh my God, what would happen if, and then you have a fantasy in your mind and you see somebody going to the hospital, whatever the fantasy is, cut it right there. Don't let it evolve. So this is where Om Dum Durgaye Namaha or Ad Guru Name, Jugat Guru Name, Sat Guru Name, Sri Guru Deva Name are going to be very powerful. And they cut the thought, and with 3 vibrations is enough. 3 repetitions are enough. What else? Continue with the concept of 3 things. Just doing 3 long, deep breaths, it's already going to be enough in any situation, in any circumstance. And for that, you don't even have to go outside of the room where you are. You can just do 3 very, very full and complete yogic breaths. Inhale and exhale, very conscious. And that should be enough for us to reset ourselves as well. And when we are practicing yoga, when we are doing kriyas and physical practice, between one exercise and another, we generally give a little bit of time in between. How much time? It depends on how strong the exercise, but at least enough to do 3 breaths, I would say. 3 deep breaths. Maybe not long breaths, but deep breaths. And the idea is that whatever we have been working on and whatever we have stimulated, unless it's an exercise that has to be right, continuing from the previous, then there is no break. But if there is like a little pause, just to practice, to get into the habit of doing 3 full yogic breaths. And by the end of the 3rd yogic breath, you should be back to a neutral state. It's like, when you have the shoulders up and you don't even realize, and somebody tells you and you're like, oh, that's true. I didn't realize I was holding all this tension. Well, can we train ourselves that in any time with 3 breaths, can we release any tension that we are holding and just come back to that neutral space? That's very useful. I also like Om Shanti Om. It's easy to remember and can be chanted in many different ways. Yes, that's nice. That's a mantra for peace. And yes, it could be peace within, or it can be peace with somebody. So that's a useful one. And you can chant this one also within you. Even you don't need to chant it out aloud. You can be chanting within, and it can have this. Imagine that your pores. Yeah, it's coming out through your pores in your skin. Yeah, you're feeling in with the Om Shanti, and it's coming out even through your pores, and it's like overflowing peace around you. And that's a nice image, a nice feeling that you are overflowing peace. It's there's a word in English, exuding peace, something like that. Like it's coming out of yourself, like something like that. I don't remember the exact word, but something like that. So many little tricks. Does anybody know any other? Do you know any? Just tell us here in the chat. Another thing is when we find ourselves caught up, when I was just talking about this tension, and you find that we are getting into some dark space. Yeah, we are going into some darkness within. As soon as you detect it, don't let it go deeper. And there's three very quickly three things that you can change. One is change your body. One is change your breath. And the other one, you can just laugh out loud and let it go. Which, laughing is also changing your breath in a way. Changing your breath, I already gave a few examples. Changing the body means just move around. If you feel that thing is starting to gather within, don't just stay where you are. Do any movement, any stretch. Just stand up. Stretch something. Whatever movement you need to do. Just, be like a cat. You know what the cats do? Suddenly they start stretching. We should do more like cats, right? Whenever we feel anything that is accumulating, just changing the position of the body and changing the breath, and that's going to have an effect on the mind. So, and the mind and the emotions. So those are very useful. And we could say so many more, because if we go into breaths, changing the breath, I mentioned a few breaths to stimulate relaxation or activity. I mentioned breaths to neutralize or to let go. But there would be many more different kinds of breaths for whatever we want to stimulate. But I would encourage you to just check some book on pranayams and see the kind of breaths that there are. And even 3 minutes are useful. There are breaths to feel that you don't lack anything. There's nothing missing in you. There's breaths to stimulate the intuition. There's breaths to empower you, and breaths to remove negativity, emotional negativity. There's so much stuff that we can do. Today, I will share one more, which is a breath for tranquilize the mind. Let's do one to tranquilize the mind. This is going to be an interesting one. We can practice it even for 3 minutes. And I like this one because it has quite an unusual mudra. And this one is also from Kundalini Yoga. And it's a kind of meditation. And in this meditation, we will do a mudra with the hands. And while we are holding the mudra in front of the heart, we are asked to inhale and hold and exhale and hold. And how much we are holding, it will be a number of times that we repeat a mantra. So we inhale, we hold, we repeat a mantra, and the number of times to repeat it is from 11 to 21. Why 11 and 21? I don't know. I didn't write this meditation, but these are the instructions, right? So you can choose any mantra and repeat, your favorite mantra, and do it from 11 to 21 times. Now, generally, because I don't want to be counting 1, 2, 3, 4 to 11, I generally follow a pattern. I will show you in a moment. Another couple I think are fun are Soham and Om Mani Padme Hum. Oh yes, that's nice. Om Mani Padme Hum is Padme is this lotus, no? It's like the lotus flower. So it's like being, that the lotus flower grows out of the dirt and the mud on top of the surface of the lake. Sat Nam Infinity, hello, welcome. So Om Mani Padme Hum is very nice to contact our Buddha consciousness, but also to rise above the mud. Yeah, when there is mud around, there dirt, there's a conversation that is heavy and sticky and muddy, then just come out, rise out above it like a flower, like a lotus flower. And that's Om Mani Padme Hum. So it may help to do that. Maybe another day, next day we go into nature, we can chant a few of these mantras. It would be quite nice. I'm looking forward to that. And so Hum is a really good mantra when we are creating that macrocosmic orbit within us, when we put the tip of the tongue in the upper palate and then we inhale so, and then we exhale hum, so, and hum. So you see, every mantra can have its own technique, and the way you chant it, it will have a different effect. Gayatri mantra so powerful. Yes, of course. Yeah. I mean, there's so many mantras, right? But Gayatri would be the queen of all mantras. And I think it's the only mantra that is repeated twice in, I think it's the Rig Veda or something. I may be mistaken now. But it's a very, well, it's one of the greatest mantras. It's supposed to, in its initiation from a guru, you can self-initiate yourself. I don't think it's necessary to have somebody initiate you. I believe that we are in a new age. In the age of Aquarius, we don't need somebody to go and whisper the mantra in our ear. And yeah, there may be secrets to this mantra which we will never know until a teacher tells us. But you can just chant the mantra by yourself. It's perfectly fine. And Gayatri mantra is best if you chant it near water, like a river or a lake. It's going to be more empowered, or especially if it's during sunrise and sunset. That's moments when it's really powerful. But you can chant it anytime, really. And how was I saying? Oh, okay. So let's go to this meditation I was going to share. The chanting 11 to 21 times is difficult to count, so I generally do it 16. Because it's between 11 and 21, and 16 is 4 times 4. And maybe because of my background in music, but I don't have to count 16. I just know how it feels 16. But if it's hard for you not to know how much is 16 without counting, you can project the sound within you, and you can project 4 times on one corner, 4 times in another corner, 4 times in another corner, 4 times in the other. So it's like Wahuru, 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 right? And then you exhale. Hold without breath. Wahuru, 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 Wahuru. And then you inhale, right? So you are inhaling and holding and chanting. Let's do 16. I think it's the easiest. Within your mantra of your choice. And it can be a mantra from any tradition. It doesn't have to be Wahuru. It can be something else. And then you exhale and hold and repeat the same mantra at the same rhythm. So you're holding the same rhythm, the same time on the inhale and on the exhale. Now that's the repetition of the mantra, and I will show you the mudra in a moment, but I wanted to explain this before. I feel blissed when I chant Om Namo Gurudev Namo for 21 minutes. Yes, and there is some very nice meditations with that. That's a lovely. There is one. How is that one? I think it's one hand in the heart and the other hand. It might be like this. It might be like this. I'm not sure if it's like this or like this. I would have to look for it. And it's listening to the chant of the Om Namo Gurudev Namo. And it's a meditation to connect to the infinity. So there you go with your name. Good for you. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. So what is the mudra? Let's explain the mudra. You know, this is done very often now. You know, oh, I love you. You know, and they do the heart with the fingers. All right. So when we do this mudra, imagine this mudra of the heart with the index fingers. You have to touch the second phalange. Okay, it's not just like this, but like closing it like this. Now, the other fingers are within. They are folded, but the middle finger, which in Spain is the heart finger, even though the meridian of the heart doesn't pass through here or anything, but we call it the heart. So you extend the middle finger, the heart finger, doing a heart with the hands, with the index. The other fingers are folded. Yeah, so hopefully I'm explaining it correctly and in a way that you can understand. You're making like the mudra of the heart, then you extend the middle finger up, the others are folded. And this mudra, you put it in front of your heart around 10 centimeters, which is what, 4 inches, something like that. So something like this. And it points forward. So this mudra is going to be with the mudra of the heart and extending the finger of the heart in front of the heart. We are going to do that breath that I was just mentioning. We're going to do it for a few minutes. So put the mudra. If you can, stop whatever you are doing and do this for just 3 minutes. It's going to be quite nice. So close your eyes. Make sure that the mudra is correct at the level of the heart in front, around 10 centimeters. And then close the eyes. And don't worry about the mudra anymore. Once you set it, just let it be there. And you focus on the tip of your nose. You can look towards the tip of the nose, but close your eyes. And then inhale deep. And holding the breath inside, you repeat Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Exhale deep. Without air, hold. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. And inhale deep. And hold. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Continue like that. 16 holding in the inhale, 16 holding on the exhale, and add your own rhythm now. Try to do the holding without tension. when you do the last exhale and holding, inhale deep and exhale deep and relax. And relax the hands. And it's a meditation to tranquilize the mind in just 3 minutes. I think we've done even more than 3 minutes because my perception of time was a little bit off. I think we did something like 4.5. But very calming, yeah, very, very relaxing. And anybody can do it for just 3 minutes. Yeah, very calming. Maybe pregnant women would not, it's not recommended to hold the breath like that. So you can use any other technique. But yeah, this is one of them. This is so many different techniques that you can apply in 3 minutes, and you can help yourself to reset and then be much more effective afterwards. Sometimes, we are stubborn and we want to carry on doing whatever we are doing, and we think we're going to solve something, and nothing works, and we are stuck. But we want to push through, and sometimes you just take a 3 minutes break, and that's enough to unblock. Thank you, Isabel. Good to see you. So there you go. Today was a little bag of tools. I was going to say big, but it's actually little because there's so many more, but hopefully enough to get started of tools for 3 minutes, little reset for yourselves. Very useful for this new year. Don't forget to meditate. Don't forget to do naps. And I'll see you next week. Sana, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for watching, for commenting. Those of you who participated, thank you for all the members as well. And until next week.